Hello class. Today we're standing here in the town of Germantown to take a look at why this dam is here in the first place. Now it was a flood not yet seen before in Dayton, Ohio, the city, built on the confluence of three rivers: the Great Miami River, named for the Miami natives who lived in the Ohio and Indiana Territory prior to Anthony Wayne's trek up to the Battle of Fallen Timbers, and the Treaty of Greenville, signed in 1795. The Mad River and the Wolf River included placed Dayton, a city surveyed by Israel Ludlow in 1795, the same of which surveyed the land for the placement of Cincinnati, where Fort Washington had existed as the gateway into Indian Territory north of the Ohio River, existed here in the floodplains of these three rivers. Now, Dayton and the surrounding area had not been surprised by this flooding, as previous decades from its formation had shown the area to be exactly what it was by the natives who told Ludlow that this was a floodplain. But nothing as massive as the 20-foot depth of water that flowed into Dayton during this flood. Now, stories published in March of the same year showed the tragic end and tumultuous survival of those who lost all they had gained. Mr. Graves, a civil engineer living with his wife and elder daughter, was wrenched from their arms in the current. The events of the day, as Mrs. Graves tells the New York Times, saw their house undertaken in minutes. Mr. Graves, once the house flooded, pushed his family to the second floor as the stairs were ripped out from under his feet. He fell into the whirling waters. Mrs. Graves grabbed his hand to hold on to him, but his neck was broken, and he was sucked out of the window to be lost forever. In the aftermath of the events, 730 people were confirmed dead, with over 180 million in property damage reported. People floated downriver on the roofs of their houses and on the trunks of trees. Men, women, and children, none could resist the catastrophe. When the waters receded, plans were made to make sure events like these would never happen again. 5 dams were constructed around the Miami Valley River Basin, Inglewood being the largest of these at a capacity of 312,000 feet. Within 60 days from the events of the flood, engineers were brought together to solve the problem, with $2 million being raised among 23,000 individuals to front the original part of the bill. The establishment of a conservancy district went through many legal routes to accomplish the creation of these 5 dams, and an additional $33 million worth of bonds were sold to contribute to the total cost, ending in the year 1949. Around half of the yearly tax was levied against the cities and counties, and the other half against properties protected against flooding. Nearly 30,000 acres of land was obtained for the initial dirt and construction of the dams, which was later sold back to the public for farmland. It took 2 years to maneuver the legal, property, and money necessary to construct this project, with one town fully relocating and several telephone lines, railroads, and highways shifting to account for the newly constructed dams. When it was all said and done, the newly constructed project was now able to resist a 40% greater flood than that from the Great Flood of 1913. Now, thank you, and have a good evening.